Players, past legends. Past legends.
Things that didn't quite go the way in the first half. I think we had our noses in front at half time, but no, I don't recollect ever having any sort
Well,
of
I think back then that was the rule. It was 3 games you played, and everyone just went, "Yeah, that's what it is." And I don't think we ever worried about, "Oh, is it fair?" Everyone just went, "Oh, that's the rule." Bang.
Yeah, it was the rule. I mean, sure, you thought about it afterwards, but it was the rule, and it is what it is. But because we had our chances, if we got blown away and whatever, you probably might have looked at it more and gone, "Well, the rule might not have favoured us." But then, because we should have won, you go, "Well, they were the rules."
Yeah, I reckon that's a pretty fair way of putting it. So, Righto. Okay, 2002.
Yep.
You have probably handled getting dropped as club captain and still staying a stalwart. You've handled that probably better than anyone else I've ever known, Threaders, and I've always had immense respect for you in that way that you've stayed so fiercely sturt. But how did you sort of take it in at the time, and what was the communication like?
It was. I think I think it could have been handled a bit better, maybe, and maybe it didn't need. I don't know. It is what it is, sort of thing. Disappointed. They're. It's not. I still think about it a lot because I would have loved to have been a Sturt Premiership player. That would have probably, would have meant, everything to me. But it wasn't to be. So, you can't change anything. So there's no point sort of dwelling on it too much because it's just sort of eats away at you. So
did you join in much with the celebrations and that side of it?
Oh, I knew the right time to leave. I think it was the chimney veiling.
Yep.
I was encouraged to go along, and I just felt there there was a couple of pictures in the newspaper, and it was like they keep putting on this sad face in the news in the advertiser, and it's not about me.
Yep.
And there was a couple of pictures of there he is, or or after the final siren went out in the Oval, and the day after there's a picture of me sort of, and I thought, I got to just they need to sort of enjoy this and me get the hell out of there. So the sad guy's not there all the time.
And you weren't going to Bali anyway?
I would have. We had the birth of our first Jack.
Yeah, I was wondering where Jack fitted in there. Yep.
In August. Yep. In August, I had decided I wouldn't. But when if you're involved in that sort of thing, you go. But circumstances arose, so you go, I don't need to go to that either.
And
well, just going back a little bit, you played your 200th in 2001 in front of 13,745 at the parade in the centenary match. Obviously, along
you guys
with
won too,
Brody Atkinson, and you play your 200th.
Did I?
Yeah.
I thought I played it at Unley Oval against Central Districts and we got beaten.
I know. On my little stats here, officially on the Sturt site there, they're saying that you guys just got beaten by Nord in that match. In front of 13. No.
Okay, I'm getting different mixed up.
I certainly remember the game because that was brilliant. We all dressed up like idiots in knickerbockers and stuff like that. But again, to have that crowd was amazing. And
it was a huge night that, and with the retro Guernseys and it was a great night.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely.
Okay, so in terms of then. Bali's happened. How did you? What was your involvement then afterwards? Got asked that question, Chris.
I mean, it was hard. I actually had also one of my best mates over there as well, Sam Eustace, who was over there in a different, just over there with another mate of mine as well. So sort of those sliding doors sort of things that they didn't go out that night because they've been surfing and doing whatever. And we talk about
I didn't know that because obviously I know
Sammy.
Sammy played at uni, so obviously I know Sam. Yeah.
That's right. So you have those moments where you go, bloody hell, if you were over here, then we would have been out with you. And but that wasn't. But no, it was. I remember the phone. I get a phone call from Graham Dunstan. And at that stage, it was like no one knew what the hell was going on, and probably took a while. I suppose something that sat with me most was I remember getting hold of Michael Curtis in the airport at Bali, and you could just hear this frightened young bloke.
Yeah.
Still sort of sends shivers.
Yeah.
That no one should ever have to deal with that crap.
No, look, it was one thing. We've had Weathers on the show, and I was actually doing an Auskick thing with him at Prince's, and I hesitated. And I went, Weathers, can I ask you about Bali? And he said, please do. I've been encouraged to talk about it. And then he sent me a USB stick of stuff we didn't see back here. That's the most confronting 8 minutes, 28 seconds I'll ever watch. And you know something's affected you when you remember the exact length. You see the Sturt guys come back, and you see Weathers run to Julie. Obviously, knowing Julie for donkey's years, and so that really resonated. And Marnie rang me and said, "Hey, keep him talking. You're helping more than the psych." And it was it's something which is.
And I think there's still a couple that need to keep talking about it.
Yes, but you've just mentioned one who does. Yes.
Yeah, and but I remember that day they sort of were brought in the back door in a private room down at Adelaide Airport and coming in and again just sort of going, what the fuck? These just frightened bunch of young kids.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense.
It still doesn't.
What was the club's approach from that point of view as to how to handle it? Because it's something that no one had ever seen happen before.
I think they handled it absolutely brilliantly. I think Graham Dunstan was instrumental. He was absolutely amazing.
Mocker was fantastic. Yeah.
He just got around everyone. Again, I don't remember the final. I do just remember that Mocker was amazing, and the whole club was. And what do you do? No one's ever experienced that before.
And that's when
everyone did their best, and and probably made some mistakes, but I think in general probably did a pretty good job of doing whatever you could.
And I said to Sticks, how do you reckon you handled it? Sticks's reply, I think, was brilliant. He says, Rubble, you're not given a manual on terrorism coaching when you're appointed coach. And I said, Sticks, that fucking nails it.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah.
What was your role as captain of the club at that stage? Had you decided to hang up the boots after the grand final, or was that something that happened a little bit later down the track?
Well, it happened a little bit later down the track. They had a bit of a memorial for myself, Andrew Geddes, and Bruce Lennon, and maybe Johnny Richter. Johnny might have retired the year before. I can't remember. But Sticks offered me to play on and have a bit of time off over summer and do whatever. And I thought that's a completely wrong thing to do. If you're in, you're all in. I'm not. And obviously wasn't feeling great about the whole thing. So I think it was again best for myself and whatever to move on and retire.
And you did go and play at Prince's, and you did play on at least one flag threaders, or
we did. No, we played. We actually had our 20-year reunion on Saturday for it, and it was a few of the guys. Tom Davies played in it, Tom Katsaris, and a few uni blokes that had played in a couple or whatever. And Tom Davies actually recollected, he goes, you and Geddes were completely off tap because we knew it was the only grand final you blokes had ever won, and you were both best on ground for at least 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I'm not totally shocked with that news.
Are you talking the last weekend, or are you talking after the actual grand final?
Oh no, we were best on ground again on Saturday.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and Brucey Lennon coached as well. So that was pretty special. Yeah,
it was one day too with Weathers' 300th at Alberton, and you guys weren't playing. You were invited because it was because of Weather's 300th, and you were in the room, and you stand, and you got the Sturt guys are sort of thinking, "This is bizarre. What are we doing in here?" And I just took over. Nah, ignore this Sturt Nord bullshit. Right, this is for Weathers. Get involved. And then the Sturt guys came that night to the Nord auction night in respect to Weathers, and that was it was a fantastic night. And I just thought you guys were awesome to show Weathers that respect as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, little Timmy was a big part of of the Sturt Football Club, and Mickey had a lot to do with the club for a long period of time, and again their family. So yeah, no, you celebrate people when things happen and people move and for whatever reason, but there's no point shunting anyone for it.
And so you've then played at Prince's, you played in the flag, retired. When did you then? What was you first involvement back at Sturt, then afterwards, after that, or what happened there, and how you've ended up becoming, I think you're director of about 13, 14 years now at Sturt.
Well, funny enough, Rick McGowan got me. I played footy with Ricky he was another one that Mickey Noonan removed from North Adelaide, who didn't have a bad career.
Yeah, he did all right. Yep.
And so he was appointed coach of Sturt, and he got on to me straight away. I sort of kept in touch a little bit with Rick, always got on well with Rick, and he said, "Come out, I want you to be my runner." And so I started doing that, and then I reckon in one of the trial games at Nord Oval, I jagged a hamstring, and he said, "That's perfect. That's exactly kind of what I wanted, because I didn't really want you to be runner. I want you to be one of my assistant coaches."
Okay.
So I ended up being assistant coach, and that was a good fun year because I loved Rick, and we did pretty well. Rick was a really good coach, but we'd had the birth of our second child in that year, which was 2007.
Yep.
And it was just hard work. I had a 4-year-old and a newborn, and you're walking out of home on a Saturday at 10 o'clock and coming home at 6 o'clock, and it's not really fair on Andre at the time. And I thought I loved it, but didn't need to carry on doing that. So that ended that little foray, and then Matt Benson was always into me for years. He was always pestering me to sort of get involved and get on the board and do whatever. And again, it didn't because then you had kids football and busy time, busy life and whatever. And eventually the window sort of opened. I don't know, it's about 10 years ago, I think. Jason, who always loved Jason, and they've had a really good board at the time. I love Sue, Phil Halliwell, David Reynolds, the accountant Rick Good. We had a really cool board. It was just good fun going to the footy with these guys, and we've got great friendships, and we have particular days still together that we celebrate. And Don Stevens, Jack Stevens, his old man, was part of it as well. But we sort of really enjoyed ourselves. And a few of those guys have left now, but so still there. But I love the footy. So you just.
What's your exact role therefore as football director? What's your responsibilities in that way?
Well, it's the football department. So we're lucky. We've got obviously we reappointed Marty Matner for 2 years, which is a great result. Chris Trapp, who's the football manager, who does a brilliant job of coaches the reserve side as well. He's a really good administrator, and Jackson Lane looking after the girls, and Oko, the coach of the girls, and Scotty Preble, who's the 18s coach, and Greg Crowden, the under 16s coach. So I suppose they report to me, but I suppose my role is I oversee them. They're good football people. They run things past me, but they're the experts, and we just make sure that they're doing the right things, which they do, and it makes it all pretty cool.
What was the initial thought of getting Marty Matner back to Sturt? Because it was a masterstroke the first time round.
Yeah, well, that was we were in, things happen. Probably the match at the time with Nathan probably wasn't quite perfect. It was nothing bad, but just felt like it wasn't quite working, and obviously it was the end of his contract, and at the same time Marty became available. You know, he was released a little bit earlier from the Crows and whatever, and we certainly went through a process. It wasn't. I think people thought that we just moved Nathan on and went straight for Marty. We went through a proper process and interviewed and did the right thing, and it was a few people applied for it, and it were pretty good names, to be honest with you. One of them was so good that he actually sort of said, "Look, if Marty's applying for it, I'm actually going to stand down because I'm pretty sure you'll probably end up going with Marty." But anyway, I think we had a little bit of a lull, but we've had a good resurgence in the last couple of years under him, and good bit of stability. And I think he communicates really well with the players and has a good rapport with them all, and staff and supporters, and it just works.
And he's driving that obviously from the top down. How much of the junior program does he oversee as well?
Oh, he's involved in a fair bit of it. Obviously Greg Crowden and Scotty Preble do a lot of that from the 18s and 16s, and Cowboy sort of down from there. But he's over. He sort of gets involved a bit with the girls as well. It's one football club that we're trying to be more inclusive. Obviously the timings of the girls' season makes it a little bit awkward to be complete. But we're trying to do more and more to bring everything together. It's just it's not perfect, but we're sort of certainly working on all of that as we go.
Obviously, the timeline of the recent events the last couple of years, the new club rooms, fantastic facility down there. You guys have really done a great job of retrofitting that old grandstand, and now it stands amongst one of the best.
Oh, it's amazing. It's I think I know Rulebook could say the same about Norwood, but I think it's the premier ground in the Sandful that just doesn't quite have a perimeter fence just yet. But
we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. That's
but also
the facilities are amazing. The room upstairs, which David Reynolds had a massive amount to do with,
and Darren Thomas, obviously.
And other people, and
full credit to the Duck for that though. What Darren Thomas Foods do, supporting so many different things. He's the building at Westminster, etc. Duck's, to be honest with you, pretty incredible.
It's ridiculous, the generosity. It's well, it's not ridiculous.
Exactly. No, it is ridiculous. You're right.
It comes from the right place, but wow, what the people. Places that wouldn't be around without the generosity of the Thomas family is
exactly
is amazing. Yeah.
And when you think you almost shut the doors with obviously the Norwood Sturt amalgamation for the AFL, but then North Adelaide potentially amalgamating, and then all of a sudden you've raised enough money to keep the doors open, and now you've got this fantastic facilities.
I mean, they still talk. Jason still talks about 2010. I think it was 11.
Yeah.
We had unpaid ATO bills, like to the point where they were almost going, well, here are the keys. We're handing them back because I don't know how the hell we're going to get through this. And it was the work of the board at the time, which I wasn't a part of, but they rolled up their sleeves and did amazing things. And we cut our own salary cap. We didn't pay our players because it was irresponsible to work to a salary cap that you couldn't afford. So we purposely cut that, and the things that Rick Good at the time, who was the finance director, and obviously the generosity of certain benefactors, and there's a heap of people who get involved to make sure that thing. And now you sort of sit back and you don't rest on your laurels, but you're sitting in a reasonably good position at the moment, but still got to work really hard at it in the SNFL.
Absolutely. Well, the one person that obviously is the face of that is Sue Dewing.
A remarkable individual.
Fantastic achievement, not only for her, but for the SNFL in general. She's driving standards, I think, that a lot of clubs need to sort of try and emulate. And that probably leads me on to the next point, and we did sort of half talk about it a minute ago, was the fence issue, that just trying to get a bit more security around Unley Oval. a lot of false truths are being put out there, but really at the end of the day, it's a community facility that you guys want to secure, not only for your players, but also for the safety of supporters and
I think
the financial side of it as well, with hiring portable fences, taking them up and down each home game makes it hard.
Yeah, well, it's obviously in public consultation at the moment, but I think it's painting the real truths. I think a lot of people think that there's going to be a couple of little gates from here to there. It'll be still a very wide open space. We have a certain amount of leased hours that we can use, and they won't be closed at that. They'll only be closed on ticketed events, and those spaces will be very wide open, and the fences themselves will be very visible and wide open. Obviously, there's no concept drawing, so you don't really know. But the main thing is that it will always be an open space to the public, and a very big open space to the public.
No, some of the mistruths by the anti-fence mob are, as you know, I rang you that day, Chris, and I reckon I can get called a lot of things. Naive's not one of them, and I was just I was angry and disgusted at the lies about Sue Dewing, which were being told that day, and I think you could probably have told in my tone of my voice that how stunned I was when I rang you, Chris. And it's just and that's coming from a Nord supporter, for goodness sake, that I went along because I go along, listen to the council and the consultation, and it was just staggering. Takes a fair bit to stun me, and I couldn't believe it. And
I think there's a lot of SNFL clubs that are behind you guys in trying to make this a reality, and I think you've put a very good case forward for it to happen. But again, it's not in your hands, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's got to be remembered as well. It's not something that we drove. We certainly support it and want it, but
it comes from the council.
Yeah, so, and that's probably a very big point that might have been missed as well. It's not us actually putting it forward. Yes, we fully support it and want it, but we didn't put it forward.
Yes,
it's a council asset, so they're looking to secure their asset, which is totally understandable in today's society. And I think a couple of weeks after this all got announced, you guys had a bit of an incident down there that probably lends itself to, a little bit of offence to deter some of that behaviour.
Yeah, certainly the security of the general public and our people is paramount. So we'll see how it plays out. We're grateful for the support, and hopefully that there's so many more steps to go. It's a long way off, but if it happens, I think it'll be aesthetically pleasing and like the naysayers for the picket fence. I think everyone would say that having that picket fence around Unley Oval looks magnificent as well. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, mate. We'll get you out of here on this one here, like we tend to do with all of our guests. We'd like to ask your top 3 or 4 that you've played with and played against in your career.
Oh, there you go. I played with. I tend to go for your mates, I suppose. The Gettys and Lennons and these guys who are characters, and Jay Viney was terrific. There's lots of them. Playing with Johnny Richter we had and Dean Woosnam. So we just had a good time. I really loved that part of it, and I've named a few, but there's not too many that didn't enjoy playing with and were good in their own rights in different ways. Playing against, probably, I think, you at that stage you were one-on-one with a full forward, and so I was like from rule books, you got the Pierres and the Primes, and
Tractor would have been shattered if you hadn't given him a mention.
Big Richo from West Adelaide.
Yes.
Scotty Hodges was probably one that I always was up for that one. We had South had Danny Del Rey one year, and that was formidable.
He was quick off the mark, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was big. Yeah, he had a big ass. He was a big boy. And the John Fidges and those sort of guys. And so no, it was, as I said, it was one-on-one back then, and it was good fun.
Now, one thing too, Threaders. So I've umpired Threaders' sons and that a fair bit, and had a bit of fun with Threaders on the sidelines. And at Saturday, where the sun comes over at Prince's, it's a prick of a spot on the ground. I asked Threaders to move the sun one day. I don't know if you can remember that, Threaders.
Yeah,
You laughed at that. And then let's just say there may have been one coach at Prince's where his enthusiasm was far better than his football knowledge and that. And Threaders' son might have started at centre-half back, and the ball came out the middle. He got the ball, passed it off, ran down, passed it off, and had a ping at goal the first 30 seconds of the game. And the coach was screaming at him to get back to centre-half back. And he's gone past me, and I've said, ignore that. That's exactly what we want to see you do as you get older. That's exactly what you expected. That was superb. And Threaders walked out at quarter time and said, what'd you say to him, Rulebook? And I told you guys, and you've just gone perfect. I don't have to say anything now. So yes. So, and quick, you better give your better half a mention too, Threaders. Guy's a great support and always enjoy her company. So give your lovely wife a mention there as well, mate.
Yeah, no, Andre, she's brilliant. Always been number one, and as many mothers do, having 3 men in the house can be hard work. But we're lucky we've got 2 really good boys, and Andre is the foundation of all that. She's quite brilliant.
And she's very supportive of your Colts in their footy as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for your time today. We've done this interview obviously in the studio, but we're putting together some equipment to do some on-site, and we'd love to visit Sturt, and maybe after one training session we might be able to get a couple of players on and do a live broadcast from there. That'd be fantastic.
Sounds good, Pete. No, excellent. No, thanks for your time, guys. It's been good.
Thanks, Threaders. Thanks. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Liking this podcast? Please like, rate, and subscribe.